Primetime's investigation, Caught Cheating, continues.
You are looking at the campus of one of the nation's finest colleges, a member of the elite Ivy League. And here in a sorority, probably 40 years of term papers. All neatly filed and organized. Need a paper? Pluck it off the shelf, put your name on the top, paper's done. It can be that simple.
Surprise you that it's in an Ivy League college?
Not at all. The more competitive they are, the higher the stakes, the greater the cheating. Does it surprise you that there's cheating in the highest investment banker firms?
But those shelved papers are the old-fashioned way of cheating. Meet Andy. We've altered his voice. He's a bright college student at an Eastern university, 3.76 grade point average. During the week we visited his dorm room, he had 4 term papers due.
The plot revolves around...
Not one of them for himself. They were all for other students who pay him up to $25 a page. He calls them clients.
I don't see them as cheaters.
Why not?
Because to me it's a business opportunity.
And a pretty good business opportunity.
It's a 4-page paper. I'm getting paid $20 per page.
On a busy week, Andy will earn upwards of $1,000.
In the first few weeks especially, you make a lot of money writing papers because kids want to go out and party and not do their schoolwork.
Many of Andy's customers are schoolmates who hear about him through a sort of campus underground. But word has gotten out, and clients from a number of colleges have sought him out.
Penn State, Yale, Michigan State University, Northeastern, Cornell University also.
Can you write a paper on anything?
I believe so. Genetic engineering. It was from my friend in Syracuse.
Andy is so good at this, he'll ask a student client for his or her grade point average. If the client generally gets A's, Andy will write an A paper. Get B's, he'll write you a B paper, and so on.
Can you pretty much guarantee somebody an A?
Yeah. Like I can tell offhand how good I can do the paper on depending on the topic itself.
But he doesn't much like writing for girls.
Every time a female wants a paper done, it has to be an A. Males don't care about what grade they get. And the females are the ones who want their money back if I get an A- compared to an A.
He's our worst nightmare, in a sense. He's a professional writer, delivering on demand papers. That's very little we can do about this. Very little.
One student writing a paper for another is not new, but the internet makes it so easy. And someone like Andy can now work in volume. He says he's written 500 papers for other students.
These are papers I've done for people all over.
What he does is not all that hard. We asked him if he'd read the Da Vinci Code. He hadn't. Still, we asked Andy to write a paper on one of author Dan Brown's theories in the book. In just 25 minutes, he had found all the information he needed.
You've got about 5 pages of information.
Single-spaced.
Single-spaced.
So it'll be a 10-page paper.
Later, he'll spend 2 hours rewriting each sentence downloaded from the internet in order to beat Turnitin.com. But Andy is a full-service cheater. For a fee, he'll also take a test for another student.
It's easy for a stranger to go in and just take a test and leave.
Easy, he says, if it's a large lecture course, and if the professor doesn't ask for a photo ID. Though Andy says taking someone else's exam does make him a little jumpy.
Every time I cheat, I have like racked nerves. I'm nervous. I'm like on the verge of breakdown. But the moment I see that A on my test, I feel like I'm in heaven, you know?
Could you write me an admissions essay that would get me into college?
Yeah, I did those also.
You do?
Yeah.
Could you get me into an Ivy League college?
If it was based on the essay purely, then yes.
That is probably frightening enough. But Andy also writes essays for those applying to medical school.
My friend paid me to write his own autobiography to get into med school.
To Syracuse and Cornell medical schools.
He gave me the brief outline of his own life, and I just spiced it up for him. I exaggerated everything.
The fee, $180.
He's writing medical school applications for kids to get into Cornell Medical School and Syracuse.
You know, these are the money launderers of academia, okay? They're laundering grades. And this is the scary part. This won't be found by the software. See, what's clever about this is now this is a much more personal kind of cheating, because all this software will find the stuff that's already posted on the web, and they can detect plagiarism. You can't detect this kind of plagiarism. You have hired someone to write the grade for you.
And he'll take a paper, and he says, I can beat Turnitin.com. I know how to do it.
And I hope somebody makes it a crime.
But Andy doesn't think it is a crime. Indeed, to his way of thinking, and to many of his clients, it is a situation where everybody wins. Everybody.
You went out because now you have more money, and he went out because now he has a higher grade on his paper or test, and then his parents are happy because their own child is doing good in school, and then the school is happy because the kid will not drop out of school or transfer. And if you see, like, every party involved is happy in some way or content.
Do you have a conscience about this?
No, not really, not anymore. Before I had a conscience, and I was afraid I might get caught. But now, I've been doing it for so long that I know I cannot get caught.
Do you think his morals are an aberration?
No. That's the scary part. No, his morals are becoming the norm, but they're wrong.
When we come back, call it the dork defense.
You don't want to be a dork and study for 8 hours a day. You want to go out and have
Once
fun.
again, Charles Gibson.
There always seems to be a reason. I didn't have time. The subject doesn't matter to me. Or the catch-all, hey, everybody else is doing it. So how do schools turn it around before we become a nation of adults who got where we are by cheating?
I could have done the work, but there's just too much going on. You're in college, you don't want to be a dork and study for 8 hours a day. You want to go out and have fun.
Does it say that the battle is lost?
It says that we are in a crisis. I don't think it has to stay that way. I think Enron has been a kind of tipping point to business ethics. I think we may eventually reach that with this kids' ethics. I don't think we're there yet.
4 basic financial...
If we haven't reached that tipping point yet, where do we stand as a society on cheating? We commissioned an ABC News poll and found in our random sample among high school students, 36% admitted to having cheated themselves. Fewer than in Josephson's survey, but it's not too encouraging. 7 in 10 kids say they have friends who do cheat. And only 1/3 of students polled said they've ever had a serious talk with their parents about cheating.
My bias is very much that we need to promote integrity. We need to get students to understand why integrity is important, as opposed to policing dishonesty and then punishing that dishonesty, because they can beat the system. Almost any system you put in place, enough of them are going to beat.
Enough of them, like Pam, Mary, Sharon, Joe, and Andy. What does the future hold for them? Joe says he'll go to Wall Street. Sharon, into advertising. Mary wants the music business, and Pam is interested in radio and television. As for Andy, who writes the papers for other students...
What's your ambition?
My ambition is to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
Yes.
Would you trust a doctor who has done what you did through college?
I would admire him for that.
I did have one last question for our students.
Why do you go to college?
Because it's what my parents wanted.
I'm getting paid a lot of money for my scholarship.
I went to college because I do have goals, I have ambitions in life.
It is curious to me that not one of you said to get an education. I'm talking about learning how to think, learning how to write, learning how to research, learning how to form an argument and defend it.
One of my teachers told me that after college, only 3% of what you learned in the 4 years, in the 5 years, however many years you've been in college, will be used in the practical world, in your real life. 3%.
What you learn in college is how to learn, how to behave, how to succeed, how to have a difficult problem, solve it, and even if you don't remember how you solved it, you wrote the paper and you did well. And if they approach it honestly, they'll learn far more in college than they think they can. But more than that, they'll come out of it better, stronger people.
As we were taping interviews for this broadcast, during a break, one young woman asked me a question I hadn't anticipated. "Do you think we are bad people?" she asked. I said that I didn't think it mattered what I thought. It mattered what they thought of themselves, whether they thought they were bad people. She paused for a moment, considered that, and then went right on, showing me the techniques for cheating on an examination. That's our program for tonight. Diane and I will see you tomorrow on Good Morning America. For all of us at Prime Time, good night.